Hello, hello, Sober Army. How are you? This is Craig Beck, aka the Stop Drinking Expert and the author of Alcohol Lied to Me and a brand new book called The Sobriety Secret. Check it out on Amazon and Audible. If you want a free copy, go to the website stopdrinkingexpert.com. All right, today I want to talk about specifically right side abdominal pain. Have you got a dull ache in the right-hand side of your body? Are you a heavy drinker? Are you worrying that the cause of this pain is your drinking? You are not alone. It is a common question I get asked. And indeed, it is one of the first questions that I asked myself many, many years ago when I started to question my own drinking. So before we talk about that and go into some detail about whether that pain in your flank is being caused by alcohol, two things. First of all, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give you medical advice. That comes from your healthcare professional, okay? So do not take what I say as medical advice. I am not qualified to give it to you. I can only give you hearsay and stories I've heard and my own personal experience of this, okay? Secondly, let's talk about threshold. Now, one of the things I talk about in my new book, The Sobriety Secret, is the threshold moments that we get in life. And threshold is basically a altering of the balance of the scales, okay? Because all of human behavior, everything we do in life is pretty much dictated by two things. Everything we do is governed by the need to avoid pain and gain pleasure. But the scales aren't 50-50. They're not completely correctly balanced. We will do a lot more to avoid pain than we will do to gain pleasure. And we can see that in life in many areas. For example, you get a bit overweight, you look in the mirror, you think, oh my God, I look terrible. That's it. I hate how I look. I'm going to go on a diet. So you go on a diet and you get a little bit away from the pain of that moment and you give up. You don't carry on all the way through to pleasure. So many people who go on a diet, they lose a bit of weight, relax the rules, and either drift back to what they were or they plateau. They never really get to where they want to go. And that's a perfect example of how we'll throw ourselves at avoiding pain, but we won't apply enough consistent pressure to get all the way through to the ultimate goal, which is to receive pleasure. If I said that the right way around. So the threshold moments appear in our lives, and in the form of problem drinkers, they come in the form of really bad hangovers. That morning when you wake up and you feel like death and you think back to last night and you think, oh God, what did I do? I hate myself. You let someone down very badly and you say, that's it. I'm never drinking again. I hate this. That's a threshold moment. Or it could be something like, you really offended someone you love. You just laid into them the night before. Or maybe your child drew a picture of you and the picture was this big fat balloon sitting on the sofa with a bottle of beer in his hand. That happened to me. My 5-year-old daughter drew a picture of me when I was drinking, and I was sitting in my lazy boy armchair, like a small balloon on top of a big balloon. And in one hand was a bottle of wine, and in the other hand was a bottle of glass. A glass for the wine. I mean, talk about a knife to the heart. That's how your child sees you, basically a fat drunk in a chair. That was a threshold moment. But it wasn't enough of a threshold moment for me to quit drinking. And then the other threshold moment that I had was this dull ache in my right abdomen. And I tried everything to ignore it. I even changed the mattress on the bed. How stupid is that? Even as though it didn't hurt when I lay on the other side. It only hurt when I lay on my right side. But I still changed the mattress on the bed. Anything other than consider it could be the alcohol. And eventually, after about 4 months, and this pain was getting worse and worse, I did go to the doctor. And still, I was in denial. Still, I expected the doctor to do what the doctor always did when I went there. And that was to go, oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Off you go. That's what I was expecting. What I got was very different. The doctor basically looked over the top of his glasses at me like that. He said, "Mr. Beck, there is a chance there is something very seriously wrong with you. I'm sending you to the hospital for tests." And I thought, "Well, the hospital? Why am I going there? That's where sick people go. Why am I going there?" I still couldn't quite process it. And then I really started to worry. Then I really hit a threshold moment and I started worry that, I've got liver failure or something. And I quit drinking for about 8 weeks. And then I started again. So even that was not enough. Even my impending death was not enough to stop me drinking. So threshold is good short term, but it's not enough to carry you through to the goal. So if your goal is to leave alcohol behind and live a happy, sober life where you're no longer dictated to by a daily sedative, you need more than bad experiences. And I see this all the time at my online course. So many people sign up because they had a threshold moment. And then 24, 48 hours later, I get an email saying, "I want a refund. I've been conned. This is an absolute scam. I demand a refund. It doesn't work," even though they haven't even looked at the course. It's so predictable because you know what's happened. A threshold event happened, the pain dissipated, and now they want the money back to spend on alcohol. It's so upsetting to see people still trapped in that level of denial. So let's get on to this question about right side abdominal pain. Is your drinking causing it? All right. And the answer is you don't know for sure unless you go for testing. But we know that a lot of important stuff is in the abdomen, a lot of really essential stuff for health, vitality, and life in general is in the right hand side of your abdomen. And it's probably no coincidence that alcohol seems to have a particularly aggressive attack, excuse me, hiccup, of that area of your body. So, I mean, if we look at what's going on in the right hand side of the body, if you've got pain in this area here in your right flank, so between your right hip and between the kind of middle of your right lung, and you're a heavy drinker, my advice to you is to sit up and take notice. Because if you were going to point to any area in the body where alcohol is going to do significant harm, it's this area. So while I can't sit here and tell you, yeah, your alcohol's causing that pain, look at what's going on over here. You've got your liver. All right. Your liver is coming down the right hand side. So if you've got scarring in your liver, or if you've developed fatty liver, which also occurs as a result of heavy alcohol use, um, you can get some pain from that here. Now, here's the problem, right? The liver doesn't have any nerve endings in it. So if you're feeling pain from your liver, it must be pretty bad because it means that your liver is now swelling so much or it's so bloated and packed with fat that it's actually pressing on other organs and other areas of your abdomen that do have nerve endings. All right. And this is why this is so dangerous because a lot of drinkers say, well, if I ever got anything really bad like liver cirrhosis, then I'd stop. If I started to feel pain in my liver, then I'd go, oh, okay, all right, I've got to stop. The problem with the liver is you don't really find out that you've got a problem until it's too late often. And if you go too far down that road, if you go past the point where the liver can't regenerate itself anymore, if you get into liver cirrhosis, then the only thing that's going to save you is a liver transplant. But here's the problem. Because you destroyed your own liver with alcohol, there were the doctors, the hospitals, the organ donation charities are going to want to see 6 months of sobriety from you before you even get on the list. And two, if you get on the list, you're not going to be near the top of it. because there are, you've got a suitable liver here. Who are you going to give it to? The child that was in a car accident or the guy that drank his liver into near extinction? I mean, if it was you, who would you give it to? You'd give it to the child, wouldn't you? That's just basic common sense. But that's kind of irrelevant anyway, because if you're sitting in front of a doctor and he says you've got cirrhosis of the liver, you have end stage liver failure. Now you've got to demonstrate 6 months sobriety. You're not going to make it 6 months. You're not going to be able to demonstrate 6 months sobriety because the chances are you'll be dead before you even get on the list. So unfortunately, in this situation, the maths kills you. It's not that there isn't a solution. It's just that the rules around this are going to kill you. So I'm not trying to scare you here. I'm just trying to prompt you into taking action. All right. Maybe it's not your liver. All right. But there's other things going on over here. You've got your gallbladder, which can be affected. Your pancreas can have referred pain over onto the right hand side as well. And also your colon and your intestines over here as well. So you can get inflammation of the intestines. You can get leaky gut syndrome as a result of alcohol use, which basically means that the toxins that are going through your intestine on their route out of your body as a waste product are leaking a little bit into your intestine. So you're slowly getting this bacterial buildup in your intestine. And then you can get things like blockages in your appendix and all sorts of things are going on. So if you've got pain in the right-hand side of your abdomen, I would advise you to take it seriously. Stop drinking and go and get checked out. Do both of those things. Don't just do one of them and hope the other one is okay. I mean, sometimes people get some false reassurance. They go for a blood test and their liver enzymes are okay. And so they conclude, well, that's fine, I can carry on drinking. The problem is you can have relatively decent liver enzymes and have a very fatty liver. You can have decent liver enzymes and have some mild scarring that hasn't progressed yet into the more severe form. And it's a bit of a gamble to assume that pain is fine and you can just ignore it. So I hope that helps give you some clarity and give you a nudge in the right direction. I know how you feel. I know how worried you are about it. And I can tell you from experience, the worst option is to ignore it. The best option is to take action and to be proactive in A, finding out what's causing it, and B, getting this narcissistic poison out of your life. If you want some strong evidence that there is no benefit to this drug, take a look at my new book, The Sobriety Secret. You can get it on Amazon and Audible, and hopefully it will give you a new perspective on what is really going on. Thanks a lot. See you in the next episode.